Chris Jericho just returned to SmackDown, and within minutes, he went face-to-face with the ring general himself, Gunther, in one of the most intense backstage confrontations we've seen all year. Two completely different eras, two completely different styles, and the tension was absolutely off the charts. I'm breaking down every single detail of this massive moment, what it means for both legends, and where this collision course is heading. You do not want to miss this analysis. What's going on, Suplex Rumble family? Welcome back to the channel where we bring you the deepest dives, the hottest takes, and the most passionate wrestling coverage on YouTube. If you're new to the Rumble, smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications because we're covering all the biggest moments in wrestling. And for my day ones who are already subscribed, show some love in the comments and let me know what you thought of this confrontation. Let's talk about what it means to have Chris Jericho back on SmackDown. This isn't just another returning wrestler. This is a living legend, a first ballot Hall of Famer, a man who has literally reinvented himself more times than almost anyone in wrestling history. From his WCW Cruiserweight days to his multiple WWE Championship reigns, from the Ayatollah of Rock and Roll to the best in the world at what he does, Jericho has proven time and time again that he's one of the most versatile, creative, and valuable performers in the history of this business. When his music hit on SmackDown, the arena absolutely exploded. And that's the thing about Chris Jericho: no matter how much time passes, no matter where he's been or what he's been doing, when he walks through that curtain, the WWE Universe responds. There's a connection there that transcends eras, that bridges generations of wrestling fans. But this wasn't a nostalgia run. You could see it in his eyes, you could hear it in his voice during his promo. Jericho came back with purpose. He came back with something to prove. At this stage in his legendary career, he doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. But that competitive fire clearly still burns as hot as it did when he first broke into the business over 3 decades ago. The energy he brought to SmackDown was palpable. This is a man who has main event WrestleMania, who has held every major championship worth holding, who has created catchphrases that became part of pop culture. And somehow, he still performs like he has everything to gain and nothing to lose. That's the mark of a true professional and a true artist in this craft. The WWE Universe was clearly thrilled to have him back. The reactions on social media were overwhelmingly positive, with fans from every generation celebrating the return of one of the all-time greats. But as we would soon find out, not everyone was happy about Jericho's return. Now let's shift our focus to Gunther, because what happened backstage was a direct result of how the ring general views SmackDown and his place in it. Gunther has been on an absolutely dominant run. His championship reigns have been characterized by brutal efficiency, technical superiority, and an old-school approach to professional wrestling that harkens back to a different era. Gunther doesn't care about flashy entrances or elaborate catchphrases. He cares about mat wrestling, about striking, about imposing his will on opponents through superior technique and devastating power. He's built his entire reputation on the idea that he represents real wrestling, pure wrestling, wrestling the way it should be done. So when Chris Jericho returned to SmackDown, you have to understand how that lands with someone like Gunther. Here comes this icon from a different generation, someone who built their legacy on entertainment and spectacle as much as in-ring work, someone who represents everything that Gunther believes has diluted modern professional wrestling. The contrast between these two couldn't be more stark. Jericho is the charismatic showman who can cut a promo that makes you laugh, makes you angry, and makes you want to buy a ticket all in the same breath. Gunther is the stoic warrior who lets his actions speak louder than words, who believes that the ring is a battleground and matches should be wars, not performances. This philosophical difference is what makes their confrontation so compelling. It's not just about two wrestlers who don't like each other. It's about two fundamentally different approaches to this business we love. It's a clash of ideologies as much as it's a clash of personalities. Gunther has made it clear throughout his time in WWE that he has no patience for what he views as circus acts or performers who prioritize entertainment over wrestling excellence. In his eyes, people like him, pure grapplers, strong style practitioners, technical masters, these are the people who should be carrying the industry forward, not veterans coming back for one more run in the spotlight. So let's break down what actually happened in that backstage segment, because it was absolutely loaded with tension and subtext. The setup was perfect. Jericho was backstage, probably still riding the high of his return and the incredible reaction from the WWE Universe. The cameras caught him in a moment of reflection, and that's when Gunther appeared. The ring general didn't storm in yelling and screaming. That's not his style. He approached with that calculated intensity that he's known for, that simmering aggression that's somehow more threatening than outright rage. The look on his face said everything before he even opened his mouth. When Gunther finally spoke, his words were measured but cutting. He didn't welcome Jericho back to SmackDown. He didn't express any respect for Jericho's legendary career. Instead, he made it crystal clear that he viewed Jericho's return as an unwelcome intrusion. In Gunther's mind, SmackDown belongs to the current generation of wrestlers who have been putting in the work week after week, not legends coming back to relive past glories. Jericho, to his credit, didn't back down for a second. This is a man who has faced literally everyone worth facing in this business. He stared down The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, the list goes on. So a confrontation with Gunther, as imposing as the ring general is, wasn't going to intimidate Y2J. The verbal exchange was electric. Jericho fired back with that trademark wit and confidence, making it clear that he didn't return to SmackDown to ask for anyone's permission or blessing. He came back because this is his house too, because he built this brand as much as anyone, and because he still has plenty left to prove. What made this confrontation so effective was the physicality beneath the words. Both men stood their ground, neither giving an inch. Gunther's size advantage was obvious. The ring general is an absolute specimen, but Jericho's experience and fearlessness leveled the playing field. You could feel the tension crackling between them, that sense that at any moment this conversation could explode into something physical. The production team deserves credit for how this was shot and presented. The tight camera work, the way they captured the intensity in both men's eyes, the silence between the barbs, it all contributed to making this feel like a genuine conflict, not just a scripted segment. By the time they were separated by backstage officials and other wrestlers, the damage was done. The line had been drawn. Everyone watching knew that this wasn't over, that this was just the beginning of something much bigger. Now let's talk about why this potential matchup is so fascinating from an in-ring perspective, because styles make fights and these two have wildly different approaches to wrestling. Chris Jericho is the veteran tactician. He's got counters to counters, he can work any style from high-flying to technical to brawling, and his ring IQ is off the charts. After thousands of matches across dozens of countries, Jericho has literally seen everything. He knows how to work around size disadvantages, he knows how to frustrate powerful opponents, and he knows how to steal victories when it looks like he has no chance. Jericho's offense is varied and unpredictable. He can hit you with the code breaker out of nowhere, he can lock in the walls of Jericho and make you tap, he can use the environment to his advantage, and he's never above bending the rules when necessary. That's not being a dirty wrestler, that's being a smart wrestler, and there's a difference. Gunther, on the other hand, is straightforward brutality. He's going to chop your chest until it's purple and swollen. He's going to slam you with powerbombs that shake the ring. He's going to wear you down with submission holds and mat wrestling that drain your energy and your will to fight. And when you're sufficiently broken down, he's going to hit you with a devastating lariat or powerbomb for the victory. The ring general doesn't need tricks or shortcuts because his fundamental wrestling is that superior. He believes in breaking opponents down systematically, making them understand that they're not on his level before he finally puts them away. A match between these two would be a chess match. Jericho would try to use his speed and technical skill to avoid Gunther's power game. Gunther would try to ground Jericho, take away his mobility, and impose his will through brute strength. Every near fall would feel earned, every momentum shift would feel significant. What makes it even more intriguing is that both men are absolutely elite at psychology. They understand how to tell a story in that ring, how to take an audience on an emotional journey, how to make people invest in every single moment. That's the difference between a good match and a classic, and both Jericho and Gunther have proven countless times that they can deliver classics. So where does this story go from here? That's the million-dollar question that has the entire WWE universe buzzing with speculation and anticipation. The obvious trajectory is toward a match, but when and under what circumstances? Does this play out over several weeks with escalating confrontations? Do we get a match on an upcoming SmackDown, or does WWE save this for a premium live event where it can get the spotlight it deserves? My feeling is that this is too big to blow off on regular television. A confrontation between a returning legend and one of the most dominant forces in current WWE deserves a major stage. Whether that's the next premium live event or something even bigger down the line, this feels like the kind of match that could headline a major show. There's also the question of what's at stake. Is this purely about pride and respect, or does championship gold factor into the equation? Both men have made their names as champions, and adding a title to this feud would raise the stakes even higher. Beyond just the one-on-one rivalry, think about how this could ripple across the SmackDown roster. Who sides with the returning legend? Who aligns with the ring general? Wrestling is at its best when conflicts feel like they matter beyond just the two people directly involved, and this has potential for exactly that kind of widespread impact. We might see Jericho call in some favors from old allies. We might see Gunther's associates try to soften up Jericho before the inevitable showdown. There are so many directions this could go, and that's what makes it so exciting to speculate and discuss. One thing is certain, SmackDown just got infinitely more interesting with these two on a collision course. There you have it, Suplex Rumble family. Chris Jericho is back on SmackDown, and his confrontation with Gunther has set up what could be one of the most compelling feuds of the year. Legend versus current star, showman versus purist, experience versus dominance. This has all the ingredients of something truly special. Now I want to hear from you. Who do you think wins if these two face off? Team Jericho or Team Gunther? What stipulation would you add to make this match even better? Drop all your thoughts, predictions, and hot takes in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button and share this video with your wrestling friends. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Suplex Rumble for more in-depth wrestling analysis, news, and discussion. I'll see you in the next video where we'll continue following this story and everything else happening in the wrestling world. Until then, keep rumbling.